Three women, wives, mothers, and entrepreneurs with mouths and minds so dirty they don't want the parents in the carpool line to know their real identities. This is Kinks Out. Our names may be made up, but the stories are real.
A Thai massage place or a Thai restaurant?
Restaurant.
Do they have back rooms or not?
I don't know, but I'm going to go there next. Oh, dear Lord.
Yes.
Welcome to Kinks Out, another summer edition without Mars. She's probably at a baseball field somewhere. She can get a hotspot and portable mic and sync up from her car for the next one. She can just like ASMR eating some peanuts and Cracker Jacks or something. But
What if she was just the laugh track? So that one person laughed at us besides us.
we're just gonna put her on that like we're a live studio audience show.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
today, Shug and myself, Geeg here, we are going to talk about Funny Story by Emily Henry. Shug.
Which is totally not your normal type of book. I had to coerce you to read this.
You did, and I was pleasantly surprised.
I love
in the
Emily
best
Henry.
way possible.
Yeah, she's one of my favorites for sure.
You know, I think I have a couple of her books even. I think I might have been gifted one or two for my birthday. Or I know I have Beach Read on my bookshelf and I just never. So now I have to read it because I loved this book. I loved Funny Story. So I did the audio book. Did you do audio or
No,
Kindle or paperback?
I read the hardback book. We got serious on this one. Hardback book. And I'm glad I didn't listen to the audiobook because I literally pictured their voices the way I wanted to picture them, and that would have destroyed it for me.
So one of the notes that I had written down about this was that in the audiobook, it was single narrator. The book is single POV. And I really wish that it had been dual POV. I wish that when reading, so we should probably give a little backstory. If you haven't read Funny Story yet, please do. But from here on out, we're going to talk about it. So if you need to pause this episode and go read it, come back. Okay, how would you describe it? This book. So Miles is the MMC.
Yes. I mean, I just picture he is Nick Miller from New Girl.
That was
Yeah. So I pictured his voice the whole time, heard his voice when he was talking. We're talking about a grown guy who lives in a room. Has an apartment, but his bedroom is just still college bedroom, messy floor, probably still band posters on the wall. He smokes weed all day, every day. But also just this super sweet, cuddly man.
Yeah.
Child.
So I loved him so much. So the FMC, her name's Daphne. So how they get together is Daphne is engaged and her fiance ends up breaking up with her because he says he falls in love with his best female friend from growing up. And so Miles is the boyfriend of
Right.
the female that the female best friend or whatever. So it's basically this crazy story where Daphne, she moves her life. She's a librarian, which I loved about her.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought she was so cute that she's a children's librarian. I just love that.
She's Jessica Day.
I know,
literally New Girl.
I as you're saying it, I see it now. But so Daphne and Miles, their significant others end up getting together and getting engaged and just wild. You have to read it to have all the details. But Daphne basically moves her life to Michigan to be with her fiance. So then she ends up like not having an apartment. Here comes in my favorite that, she leaves her house that she had with her fiance and needs somewhere to stay. So naturally, Miles has an open bedroom. So forced proximity, like, hell yes. That was
Yes.
as soon as that happened, I was so pumped. But yeah, so they live together as roommates. And once again, now I'm just picturing New Girl.
I can't get it out of my head. Like, I literally pictured the entire book happening in that apartment. So, and the funny thing is, the girl who does, so like, you know how Jake Johnson has his own podcast now, the We're Here
Yeah.
to Help. And the girl who's their social media intern, like had posted on her story that like she loves Emily Henry and she went to read this book, and then when she started reading this book she was like, it was just all Nick Miller vibes, and she was like, I couldn't do it because it's like my boss watching his love story unfold while I'm reading it, and she was like, I couldn't get into it because she just kept thinking, this is
That it
literally
was
my
her
boss
boss.
that I'm reading about.
That's
Yes.
because
So
he's not really Nick Miller from New Girl. Like, that's what's so funny. But I feel like everybody probably like sees him as that character.
right, exactly. So of course that made me even more excited to read it because
Yeah.
Nick Miller girl for life. So
Yeah. Yeah. I wish there was a male narrator. So I didn't picture anybody at first. I think you had told me this after. Like, I had this own character in my mind, but I wanted his voice. Like, the female narrator, I'll have to look up who it was. She did an amazing job. Like, she was great, but I'm just a sucker for like, whether I was reading it or listening, I like hearing the other person's side of things. So I would have loved to have, some tidbits of Miles.
did she throw her voice at all? Like, did she change the voice
Yeah.
between characters? Okay.
A little bit. Now I can't remember. I just remember thinking like she did a good job because it would stand out if it sucked because I
Right.
like can't. I would have stopped listening and started reading the actual book if that was the case. Let me
Right.
look up who the narrator was. But there was so much plot and story here that
Mm-hmm.
at first I was just like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I don't want to feel sad. Like,
This is not your jam. They were not pounding like in chapter 1. Like they did
right?
not go to Pound
Yeah.
Town for a
They did
while.
not. Like, yeah. So the just having there be so like but it was done so well. Like, I don't know. I was just really sucked in. But I love that one of the things that I love was like that their first kiss wasn't so great. Like,
Yes.
and
Yes.
then like then, like then it was better. But just like the description of that made me laugh because I feel like in all the books I read, it's just like this insta lust and like
Uh-huh.
sexiness immediately. So that was a game changer for me. I was like, okay, I think I can handle this. All right, let me look
Yeah,
up
because I feel
funny
like that's
story.
more real life. Like when it comes
Yeah,
to like your first kiss is usually not fireworks. You
yeah.
got to feel each other out a little bit.
So the narrator was Julia Whelan, Whelan, Whelan or Wylan. I'm not sure, but yeah, she did a great job. Um,
I wonder if
what
she
was I
does
gonna
all
say?
of Emily Henry's books.
Well, I can tell you in a minute. Let me look that up. So, yes, she does.
Okay, so that
Mm,
makes sense. Maybe. Or she does some
well,
of
yeah,
them.
she did. She did. Yeah. Yeah. All of them except it looks like one on here. When the sky fell on splendor. I've never heard of that one. It might
I
have been
think,
like an
yeah, that's a
earlier one.
very earlier one. Yeah.
But yeah,
I
somebody,
do
Amara
think
Jasper, did that one.
I think Emily Henry is just so good at developing her characters. Like,
Yes.
you feel like you know these people. In all of the books that I read of hers, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like, these are your friends down the road. Like, you feel like you actually know them, which I appreciate, you
Oh
know?
yeah. I didn't once like after I got over the fact that I was like, all right, I'm gonna feel feelings on this book that aren't like I'm
Mhm.
gonna, like it's sad in some of it. Like yeah, I mean, for both of them. But once I got over that, I was just like, the game that she played with her mom, Whiny Babies.
Why don't I
Do you
remember
remember that
this
part?
part? No, why
Where her
don't I
and her
remember this
mom,
part?
like, they would play to be like whiny babies and they would just like bitch about something for a little bit.
Oh,
And it's
yeah,
like, well,
yeah,
I can be a
yeah.
bit, yeah, that made me laugh. So I will be playing whiny babies. No, that's my jam. And her mom does CrossFit.
Yes,
I love the
I know
millions of references to CrossFit.
we were both like, "Oh, we can get down with this, a CrossFit mama."
Yeah. I did love her relationship with her mom too.
Yeah, for sure.
But
I don't
all
know,
right.
and I love the angst. I know you don't love that, but I love that. I
That was
love
really hard.
when there's like those internal feelings where you're like, oh my gosh, like, is he gonna touch me? And like, he brushes his hand on your leg. And I know that is like not enough for you, but for me, I'm like, okay, that's enough. Like, until next time, that was enough. I'm okay with it.
I think I read it so fast because I was just like, where it like I have notes from when like they finally do it. Like I was like
Yeah,
waiting, but what a slow burn. Jesus. The
I love
slowest of
it.
burns. When he ate her out for the first time, there was like zero description. I was like, what?
That's
We had
exactly what I need.
we got 5 senses. Why didn't I hear about any of them?
I know. This, like,
I,
seriously, this is way sexier to me than reading about slick folds. Like
I
this is what
mean,
does it.
I had to rewind that part when he went down on her because I was like, I hadn't realized that he did. Like, I was like, wait, he like, what? Like, I had to rewind and I was like, he went between her legs. And I was like, yeah, I was just like, wait a minute. And then she went down on him and it was the same thing. She didn't like bob on a stick or swallow him down. Like, I could go on and on with the verbs for this,
I
but
know.
it was written well though. I mean, it was hot. It was written well. But for my perv taste,
It was not up to your pervy standards for sure.
yeah.
When it
I
comes
mean, yeah.
when it comes to description. See, that's the
Yeah.
difference between us. We are on opposite level, like, ends of the yardstick for this one.
The yardstick. I haven't thought of a yardstick since like middle school.
Yeah.
Do you own a
I lo-
yardstick? Like
of
what?
course I own a yardstick.
Wait, what is a yardstick? Like just like a long
A, s-
measuring tool?
a long ruler that's a yard long. Haven't you ever been spanked by a yardstick?
No, have you?
Of course. Not in a sexy way. I've been
I was
spanked
gonna.
by a yardstick. Oh, back when schools allowed you to I'm older when they allowed you to spank your students. Yeah.
Did you go to a Catholic school?
No. I don't know.
Like a
Maybe
like? Did you
I'm
make this
probably
up?
I'm probably making this up in my head.
You've never been spanked by a yardstick?
I think I've definitely been spanked by a yardstick before. Can't tell you. That's part of my collective trauma, but I can't tell you where it came from.
Oh
Anyways,
dear
but
Lord.
you are definitely, this book is exactly like, these are the kind of books that I was reading when we first started talking about smut books, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I read sexy stuff.
You're
And
like,
this
wow,
to
chicka wow
you,
wow.
yeah, this is like a 2 on the smut scale, and you are
No, this is a
usually,
1. This is a 1. This is 1 chili pepper.
Okay, one Chili Pepper, and you are looking for books that are like in the 40s and 50s. 40s and
40
50s.
chili peppers.
Yeah.
I had a friend yesterday when I posted on like my personal Instagram. I had like I do like a monthly like wrap up of what I read.
Yeah.
And I think I had what did I have? I had sort of like a synopsis on like the whole month. Like I circled a couple of the books and I was like, okay, you know, like this one's my favorite. I said that. I said funny story. I was like, not my normal read, but oh my god, I love this book. And then I circled one. So this is War, and I was like, this book is everything. I've never laughed harder while reading. And then I circled Pounded by Poseidon, and I was just
Yeah.
like, don't ask. And so many people messaged and were like, but I'm asking. And then I had
Yeah,
another
right.
friend that was like, I had a friend that when she came on, I have to read what she said because she was just like, A, how do you find time to read all this? Do you do audiobooks? She's like, um, what's your secret? Like, do you listen? And I was like, yeah, I listen to a lot of them. Um, and then she was like, I do smutty books go on Audible? Isn't that borderline porn? And I was like, yes. I was like, it's basically audio porn with some plot sometimes. Not all the time, just
Sometimes.
sometimes. She was
Sometimes.
just like, I have 7 Audible credits I need to use in the next month. So I guess now's a good time. Cause I was like, I'll give you some recommendations if you need them.
Right.
But
Exactly.
basically, yeah, I basically listen to audio porn, which is fine.
Yeah. And I think it depends on who's reading it, whether or not it's hot or not, because it
Oh,
can
for
go either way. It can be
yeah.
very, very ick or
Yeah. At Mars, I think Mars feels icked by audiobooks with some of
yeah.
them, but
I've
I don't
listened to
know.
audiobooks where I'm just like the voice just there's no way that I could get turned on by this at all.
I've started audiobooks before and had to stop them because I just wasn't jiving with the narrator. Eh.
Right.
Do you have favorite quotes from this book? Because I have one that I feel like I want to like live by now. I love it so much.
You know that I didn't take notes or do
This is true.
anything but read. I mean,
You
I
read
read
the
a
book.
book. I
You
read a
read the
book.
That's all that matters, really. I mean, I'm proud.
Cover to cover, read it. So that's
I'm
what
so proud of
counts.
you. Exactly.
Yes.
That's all that matters. I think I text you when I read this part where she says the same universe that dispassionately takes things away can bring you things you weren't imaginative enough to dream up. And I love that quote. I sent it to you in Mars and I was just like, oh my god, guys, I love this book so much.
I know. Yeah, I feel like she always is able to like throw in these little things that you're like, "Oh my gosh, like this is so big." I mean, like,
Yeah.
like this is like such a big statement or something that you can relate to your own life, which I love about reading her
Yeah.
books.
Yeah.
I think I sent you another one, but I can't remember what it was.
You did because I didn't want to give you any spoilers when I sent this one. And I was like, and then like you threw some quotes at me. That's why I wasn't sure if you'd written them down, but it was in the moment that you sent it. So
Yes.
that's okay.
Yes.
So you've read other Emily Henry books, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Which one
I
should I
think I've
read
read them
next? Like,
all.
do you remember any of them? Did any stand out that you're like, ooh?
I think the next one that I loved was Book Lovers. I love that one.
Okay.
Book
Because I feel
Lovers
like I,
is really good. I like that one better than Beach Reads.
okay.
Beach Read.
Well, I'm going to put that on my TBR because I want more of her, I think, sprinkled in with my smutty smut because I just like her writing style. Do you know if all of them are single point of view?
They are all, yeah, where you go back and forth between the characters, which I love. Is that what you're
No, no,
talking about?
no. No, like single. Yeah. Is it just like whenever you read it, is it just um the female that's talking? Because like that's what this one was. Like we didn't have Miles talking. Did we?
I thought we did.
Oh my god, wait. Did I just like mess this all up? Hold on. Story of my
I
life.
I thought that it went back and forth between the characters.
Now I need to look. Hold on.
But maybe I'm thinking
Pausing.
of Poseidon. That's the last thing I
Sometimes you need
read.
a little bit of
That
all of
was
them
too
in there.
much.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
If by too much you mean everything.
It was literally just her.
Okay. Yeah, because I thought that's what stood out to me is that I always love when it bounces back and forth. And I just didn't know if all of her books were like that or not, where it's just the
Well,
one person.
don't ask me because I didn't even remember what this one was. I
It doesn't
have no
matter.
idea.
You read this book. You read a whole book and you enjoyed it. And I'm proud of you. And that's all that matters.
I am very used to reading the books that go back and forth. That seems like what I pick up the most often. But yeah, I did like that this was her point of view. Now I need a book from Miles' point of view.
See, that's what I mean. Like, I wanted his words
Yeah, I want to hear what he
because I'm
was
obsessed.
thinking.
I'm obsessed with Miles. He's so freaking adorable. And the end was
We need to
perfect.
draw a picture of what we think he looks like.
You're just going to draw a picture of Nick Miller.
I am going to draw a picture of Nick Miller, especially since on the cover of the book he's wearing yellow Crocs, like Nick Miller vibes.
I love that about him, that he wore Crocs. I know the cover of the book is so cute.
And he's a bartender, which makes absolute sense. Emily Henry, if you could please come on our podcast and explain to me if you base this character on Nick Miller, that would make my life.
Shoot your shot.
Can you take some time out of your busy New York Times bestselling life? I thought it was interesting. You will love this part. Somebody on Goodreads said that she saw an interview with Emily Henry about this book, and she said it was all Taylor Swift's The Tortured Poet, whatever that is,
the Tortured Poets Department.
Vibes. And
This
it's an
book?
emotional, yeah. She said it was an emotional roller coaster of happy, sad, frustrated, lust, and love. Is that what
I mean,
I've never listened to that album, which I know.
there's a lot on that album that makes me sad, but I guess I could see that because without, it's super sad. Like they end up fake dating. You know what I mean? Like in a tizzy, like Daphne says to somebody that like she has a boyfriend and it ends up, like says that Miles is her boyfriend or whatever. And even though
Right.
it's like, so I could see that because they have this like forced proximity, fake dating situationship going on. And they're so angsty with each other. And they're both also getting over, an engagement / like long-term relationship breakup.
So this is definitely spoiler. So if you've listened so far and you've not read this book and you want to read this book, like definitely shut it off now. But how did you feel about like that third act, like where they're going so good, the two of them, Miles and Daphne, they're like going so good, everything's great, and then like she starts having doubts because like all of her probably insecurities and stuff start coming into play. How did you feel about that?
I freaking hate a third act breakup. So like that's another thing. Like this book played with all of the things that I hate of like,
Right.
slow burn, angsty, third act, but I mean, it makes sense. Like, she has her own baggage because of her dad. You know what I mean? So,
Mhm.
like, and then also being left for somebody else, like her fiance broke up with her, started, dating and gets engaged to his best friend that, like, she was told all throughout their relationship that he didn't feel any romantic feelings for. So, like,
Mhm.
if that doesn't mentally mess you up, I don't know what will. So,
Right.
it, I mean, it made sense, even though I didn't like it.
I think that's the only part of the book that I didn't like, just because that felt so rushed to me. Like, it felt like we, like,
Yeah.
had all this build up, got to this great place, and then, like, this I mean, obviously, like, a book has to have, like, these parts that are, like, pivotal parts, but, like, that, um, breakup, if you call it a breakup,
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
just felt
Freak
like
out.
such a rushed part that I was like, that doesn't make sense, because if that were me in that position and my fiance had just left me, and then, like, I all of a sudden had all these insecurities come back in from, like, my history, like, I don't think I would have been able to wrap that book up in a pretty bow at the end
What do
so
you think she
quickly.
got do you think she got over it too quickly?
I just feel like that whole section didn't feel like I feel like the rest of the book, I guess, progressed the way it could naturally. Like, you have a little bit of interest,
Yeah.
you touch a
You
little bit
fight
on
it.
the sofa. Yeah, you fight it, and then, like, finally, like, you give
You
into it.
wait. I love the you touch a little bit on the sofa.
Yes. But, like, that
That's
felt
that
that felt natural. That was like a natural buildup. Like, that's,
it really
you
was.
know,
It was.
yeah. And then this just felt I know she had to throw it in because it made sense, but it felt like that was too fast for some reason.
Yeah.
Maybe
No,
it's
I can
just me.
totally see that. No, I think I had a hard time with that part because I was just like constantly battling whether or not I could handle more like emotional trauma in this book, but I did it.
Yeah, and I
And yeah,
I think the whole time I was just like, "Oh my god, but Nick Miller, he still loves you. Like, he said I love you. Say it back." Like, I
yeah.
was angry.
I think didn't like they went through those freak out moments, I feel like at opposite times.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
he went through it and like backed off and then then he was like, "Oh, okay." And then she was like, "Oh shit." And then she freaked out.
Yeah, I
And then
think this
stuff
is
with her
all
dad
just,
happened.
like, my own, like, personal, um, trait. Like, my own, like like, the fact that, like, if somebody said, "I love you," I'd be like, "I love you too!" Like, right now, I love you too.
You're at the grocery store, the lady's like, "I love you, have a good day." You're like, "I love you so much as well."
Yes. Right, exactly. So, yeah, that was the
Yeah.
only part that I wished was different, but that's because oh my god, I wanted it to be a happy ending. I usually do not want happy endings. I wanted this one to be a happy ending because I
Probably
liked
cuz
them so well together.
yeah. Probably because of the vibe that it was putting off and like who you pictured.
Yeah, of
It
course.
Yeah, I would recommend this book to anybody. I thought it was really great. I mean, maybe we can get Mars to read it after she watches The Idea of You.
So it's never happening.
Yeah.
Not in 1,000
Doubtful.
years. Not in 1,000
It's
years.
fine. I'll read another one of these with you. What are some of the other authors that are a little bit like this? Like that's is like Tess Bailey. Have you ever heard of her?
I've heard of her, but I don't know if I've ever read her. Um,
Or
I do I do feel like some of Megan Quinn's books have more of this vibe.
Yeah, she does have ones that are more plot driven and less smut driven for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
like didn't you read one about like a road trip or something?
I read Vacation Wars. And I mean, there's
That's it.
definitely more more that you like. Like
Yeah.
there's more actual smut in it, but it was still like a cute story. Um
Yeah.
she's probably not the same. I love like Jennifer Weiner.
Those are who I like grew up reading her stuff.
And I read everything that Taylor Jenkins Reid comes out with because I love her.
Yeah, that's your
This is
jam.
my bread and butter.
I used to read like Emily Giffin.
Oh, see, I don't think I've ever read any of hers.
She did like Something Borrowed, Something
Oh,
Blue.
my
Love,
sister loves those. Yeah, my
yeah,
sister
love The
loves
One You're
those books.
With. Yeah, those were good.
I can't
There
read
was
wedding books like with my job.
oh,
I just can't,
yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah, no need. Uh the author of The Devil Wears Prada. I used to read like cuz I loved that book, yeah. And then like there was one called Chasing Harry Winston by Lauren Weisberger. She's the one who wrote The Devil Wears Prada. I loved all her stuff. I don't know if she's written anything recently. Like When Life Gives You Lululemons or Where the Grass is Greener and the Girls Are Pretty.
Oh my gosh, I was just like in my head, I was like chasing Harry Winston. I was like, why would you chase them? But then I think I'm thinking of Harry Weinstein. I was like, why would you chase him? Gross. You're supposed to run away. I got very
Oh my god.
confused in my head for a second.
One is awful and
Oh,
one
it's
is diamonds.
Harvey. It's
Harvey
Harvey Weinstein.
Weinstein.
Same difference. Harry Winston, Harvey Weinstein. I was like, what is this like is this an actual nonfiction book?
Right on track.
Oh
Right on track.
man.
Oh my god, did you read like the Sophia Kinsella books?
I did read some of
Oh,
those, like the shopaholic books when I was younger.
yeah. Yeah.
I like definitely when I go to a bookstore now, I definitely find myself in the young adult fiction section most of the time.
I believe it.
Like, yeah, like young adult fiction. Like I loved those Summer When I Was Pretty
Oh
like
yeah.
books and shows. Like that's all, you know.
I'm trying to think of Candace Bushnell, the Sex and the City writer.
I've never
Like
even
she
watched an
wrote
episode of Sex in the City.
Oh, I love that. But like she wrote Lipstick Jungle and like Four Blondes and all like the Carrie Diaries and all this stuff. One Fifth Avenue. Those were my jams too. Like those kind of like I wasn't always into smutty
So
stuff.
what graduated you to smutty stuff? Like what do you think made the turn? Did you just read one book mistakenly and then you were sucked in, or like did you seek it out?
So I read a majority of the Diana Gabaldon Outlander.
Oh, Outlander. Because you watched the show or like you just jumped into the book first? You watched the
Because I
show
watched the
first.
show and I
Yeah.
loved the books. So good. And those have spice to them. But then another time we were at the beach and I needed a book to read, and there was like a cowboy romance on the shelf. And then I read that and I was like, well, howdy.
That was a different beach vacation than you were used to.
Yeah.
You're
And
burying
then
yourself in the sand.
I think I only had one kid then, so life was a lot easier.
Yeah.
And then when I came home, and I was at the library, I would like, get out books or whatever. And then they always have free paperbacks outside of
Yeah.
when you're walking out of the library. And I was like, maybe I'll get a couple. I'll see what they got. And lo and behold, there was like, ridiculous covers. And then more cowboy romances and like a hockey romance, like a paperback like that was like called like Hip Check or something. And it had like a half naked guy on the cover. And I was like, let's try these out. And
Who
I
knew?
haven't looked
The
back since.
library. The library was
Good
the
old
gateway drug.
good old public library. Which, speaking of, we're gonna have to do our episode soon of the Geeg Goes Shopping, aka Geeg goes to the library and gets free paperbacks for you guys.
My book is sitting right here.
So is mine.
I cannot say that I've opened it, but my book has definitely taken a dip in something.
If you all could see her book right now, it is disgusting looking, and I don't remember seeing that.
I didn't do that. It has sat on my desk since I got it. But
Well, crack it open because and actually too, look on Audible because I found mine for free on Audible.
no, even better.
So yours might be.
Oh,
Um,
here. I'm gonna read the little intro for you. So
oh boy,
to get
yeah, we
yourself
can set this
excited.
up for.
Oh, wait.
Go ahead.
She braced herself as if for a powerful punch. Go ahead. What? Colin asked. Kiss me. Nay, 'tis not my way to frighten fair-hearted ladies. She growled in frustration. Bloody hell, kiss me, you irksome knave? Whatever that is. Not unless you ask nicely. Son of a, for the last time, I am not afraid of you. And to prove it, she bent forward and crushed her lips against his in a hard, dispassionate kiss. At least it started out dispassionate.
Oh,
And the funny
snap.
thing is, this review below it says a fine historical tale.
How historical. Well, so when I had so much fun picking these books. When I was picking, I didn't pay full attention to mine. Mine just has like a shirtless Scotsman on the cover.
Is he a shifter? Does he turn into the Loch Ness Monster? Where is that book?
I imagine it exists because when I found this free on Audible, I did not realize. This just says an ancient curse, an eternal passion. It's called Highland Thirst. It's a vampire romance.
Maybe we should switch.
Seriously.
Love vampires.
I could not believe it. So I'm very, very, very excited to dive into this beauty.
A Scottish
everyone
vampire.
will have to. I guess I did not read the back of these books. I picked solely for the cover when I found this one.
Well, I just read the back of this book and it says that she's like she can fight like a man, but now she'll learn to love like a woman. And she takes a captive, but then every night surrenders to her passion in his arms. Uh-oh.
La-dee-da.
This might have to be. Now I understand why the book is so wet. Whoever was reading this may have read it in the bathtub.
Oh my God.
Possibility.
Such a possibility. So yeah, if you're wondering, read Emily Henry's funny story. Even somebody who only likes smut read it and loved it. And even somebody who barely finishes a book read it and loved it. So that's high praises coming from the two of us.
That's I mean, together that's like a 6-star, 6 out of 5 review.
Yeah, look at that. Take it for what it's worth. We're going to be doing another episode, hopefully soon, then on these ridiculous books I chose from our public library. And Mars will be back for that episode. I can't even remember what I picked for her.
I think it was a cowboy, since she was so into that cow sex the last time.
Forgot about that. I feel like I blocked that from my mind and you just brought it back.
Yeah, I did not forget that. Do you ever read the last page of the book before
Oh, yeah.
you start?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so we're the same. I just read the last page. Yes,
We're freaks.
Yeah, I want to know what's coming. Show me what's gonna happen.
So yeah, any parting words before I try to mangle the outro since Mars isn't here?
No, just be open. Let your books fall open like your legs.
For somebody who doesn't read spicy stuff, you are awfully a spicy person.
I am a spicy person. I just don't like all the words. That's all it comes down to.
Yeah. Well,
show me the movie adaptation any day and I'm in.
AKA the porn.
Yep, exactly.
Well, I hope you're all having a wonderful day when you're listening to this. Follow us on all of the social media places.
Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube,
Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
Spotify. Yeah. We're everywhere.
You can't get rid of us. All right, bye.
Bye. Disaster all the time.
We shouldn't be allowed to do this without Mars, I feel like.
We both are just like blah blah. Do you want us to talk about a book? Sure, we will, but I can't tell you that we will actually give any information that you will want to hear.
Yeah, most likely you won't want to hear any of it. It's fine. And then we forget to stop the recording. So
we didn't even stop. Oh my God, we're a mess.
Oh my God. Hey, great. Thanks for joining us. Love you lots. Bye.